Hello guys, how are you doing today? We're going to start off doing a seashell today. Remember, if you've watched my videos before, we use protector sheets and we put our picture in it that we're going to do. We use a permanent marker to do the squares 1 inch apart. We letter across the top, number down, and then slip your black and white picture in there. If you have a photo or something you'd like to transfer over, do it in black and white. And please excuse my voice today. I've got strep throat or something going on today, but I wanted to get this up here online for you guys. So I've drawn mine out. You're going to start with a light pencil, an H or an HB for this process. I'm going to use a 6 so I can go dark enough for you to see it, okay? And before we begin, just know, using an eraser is not a bad thing. They were invented for a purpose. None of us are perfect, so you might see me using it also here. All right, we're going to do this big part so we don't overwhelm ourselves. So let's concentrate just on this part here. And we're going to start in between A and B, 3 and 4. So between that, where it touches line 4, we're going to put a dot, which is just about halfway. The highest point of what's inside the square, which is right there, we're going to put a dot here. And I'm going to go ahead and curve it a little. The lowest point in here touches about here's your cross section, about right there. So let's go ahead and curve down to it. Nice curve. Highest point in between B and C. Highest point of this one. I'm going to go in the middle and see how far it is from line 3. And put a dot. Where it touches line C, about halfway. So let's make a smooth line up and curve and then come down. Make sure you got a curve like fingers. So don't do points. It's not a mountain or anything. We got nice curves going on, just like fingers. Okay, and the finger on this part, way up here in between C and D. And about right here, where it touches the line on D is, let's say, just above half. So now let's make a nice smooth line. Dip down, up, a frown, and down. Now the next finger is between D and E. Comes all the way up here. Touches a line about here. Now, nice smile. And touch that point. Curve down. Finger, fingers. All right, the next dip is in between E and F. E and F. Lowest point. And it's just above halfway. Where it touches on here. It doesn't quite touch. And it's just before, just shy of this. And just about right there. Now this is how mine's coming out. I mean, 1 inch, if you're drawing it, it's 1 inch from the left side over. And you should end up where I'm at. Now we're going to do another smile. Now in this square here, which is between E, F, 3, 4. Now look how it comes down. And it'll touch the line down here, line 4, about right here. And I'll put a nice bend on that. Don't do a straight line. It's a little bit of a curve to it. Now, you see where it dips in? The deepest part of the dip, and where it's located, right there. And then we're going to come on line 5. It touches about here. So we're going to go down and up. Nice smooth line. Now it goes right into this cross section in between E and D on line E6, line E6. touches right in that cross section. Right, now the next section on line 7, and this is between D and E, and it touches about right here. So now we're going to come down and do a curve the other direction. Make sure and curve them, no straight lines on this. On line 8, it's not quite halfway. So you see how it curves out and then back. Alright, now we're on line D. In between 8 and 9. And it touches the line about here. And then it comes in on line 9. About here. And then we have a think of a finger between 9 and 10. And C and D. And where does it touch here? Let's dot that. Our lowest point of the finger. Come down to it. Make a curve. A nice smile down here and connect up. Alright. Now line 9 in between B and C. I'm going to touch about right there. Alright. Go there. Line 8. Now it goes out just a hair and then out a hair and then now it's going to come up to line 7. And we're still in between B and C. And touch about right here. Now this has a nice little dip here the other way. And then line B in between 6 and 7. We're going to touch about just shy of halfway. Now between A and B, line 6. Just shy of that corner. Remember to curve it a little. No, not a deep curve. Very, very little. Line 5. About right there. Alright, line 4. Nearly halfway. Bring it that finger in and touch. Alright, so now we have that body part. And that, if you do that first, it won't overwhelm you as much. Alright, now let's do this little part here. We're going to start down here where it touches line D. About right there. Where it touches line E. About right here. Okay, now look how it goes up. Just a tiny amount. Down and back up. And it starts right above the finger. So we'll curve up and down, just below and up. Next one is going to touch right here, and this is in between E and F, line 9. And you see how it just kind of curves around that corner. Now, there goes my eraser. Okay. Now, here it touches line F, there, just above the cross section. Line 8, we're in between F and G. Line 8, we're going to touch about right here. Now look how it goes. Kind of curves that corner there. So get that in there. line 7, just before the corner. Let's go ahead and dot on line 6 in between G and H. Between G and H, line 6, just on the outside. So we're going to go like that. Line 5, right there. In between 4 and 5, we have a finger in here. And it's just shy of this top part about right there. Let's go ahead and connect that part. Now where it touches line G, there. And deepest section in between F and G and 4 and 5. The deepest dip out here. Then we're going to come up on F, line F, and put a dot here. So we go down and up. Now let's connect it to the rest of the shell. Alright, so now we have the opening to the shell and the base. Alright, now we have a little bit of a finger sticking out here. So it touches just below here. The height of it comes out here to the side, touches about here. So put a little finger sticking out there. Alright, that's that. Now we have a little bit of this showing on from the other side here. Okay. So now we're going to do this part here. We're going to start with that line there, and you see it's crooked. It's not a straight line. That's line through just above line 3, and it starts let's see, in between B and C. We're going to put it just right above this finger here. So put a dot. It ends in between E and F, just short of this. Put a dot. And now let's just kind of get that in there. And you see how I'm making it rough and crooked. Alright, so now we know what this is and where it's going to touch here. So we're going to dip down and just touch that finger. On this side, we're going to do the same. Touch that finger. Alright, so now we have this base here to start our next section. Alright, so in between A and B, 2 and 3, look at this finger. It touches the line B here and here. So put that little finger sticking out there a little. It might be a little big. It won't hurt it if you make it too big. Okay, and where does it touch? Here on line C. That right there. Comes up to line 2. Where did I put that? Line C. Line 2. You see where the finger touches? So now let's connect these. And put that little finger in. And it touches line D. Just above half. And the finger. We're still in between 2 and 3. The height of the finger is about midway. So now let's just curve up and touch that. Right here on line E, just above halfway. Go down. Make sure you do curves, not points, big points. Okay, now we're going to put a finger out here. And the tip of that finger is about right here. And then it comes into this point here. So, going to do there and there. And you see how we're going to go up on this one. Now we're going to connect these. So now we have another section done. Now we go up to these. in here. It starts at this, between C and D, and line, let's see, between 1 and 2. Some of them are in 2 and 3. So we're going to start here where it touches this finger, which is about right here. It comes up to this tiny little area. So let's put that line. Comes in here. We're just going to outline it for now. And look at where it lands here. Now let's go ahead and go in. I'll confuse you. Touches the line 2 right here. All right. Now we have a finger here. Comes off of this point. Comes up. And you see how it comes all the way on line D between 1 and 2. About here. Okay. The next one is on the other side. It comes, look at where the finger is, about right there. Just connect them, and if these aren't perfect, it's okay. Every shell's a little different. Now in between 1 and 2 still, in between E, and we're going to bring a point out here. On line E, this point touches here, comes out, then comes back into the cross section, and it touches right at the tip of this. So let's go ahead and get that one in. Now this curve touches this finger here. It touches about right there. So we're going to put that in into the cross section. Okay, now the next section. And these are just little fingers going up. And we can see where it's going to touch line D. Put a dot, and again, little fingers. And we're going to put one on the other side. And another little one here. Just do little fingers, like kind of like a pine cone up here. It'll come out fine. So I have all these in there. Then we get smaller as we go up. And we're just making a pine cone up here. It'll work when we start doing the sketching in here. When we start shading, it'll all come together. So just see some of these little things that I'm making in here. It's just little scribbles, just to kind of connect things. All right, so now we're going to put, yeah, I have erased all of our lines we've made if you drew on here. So I'm going to hit pause for a second so I can get rid of all these lines, okay? All right, now I've got my lines are gone. All right, now we're going to work on some shading. First, do the base. Drop your pencil, pick it up to the side. Don't grip it like this. We're not going to use the tip right now. We're only using the side of the pencil lead. And we're going to put a lightly shade it right down here on this edge. Now remember, I have hard lines so you can see my outline. Yours won't be as hard. It won't show as bad. It'll be more like this photo, or drawing, I'm sorry. And we're just gently putting this on the side. And in between these, let's go ahead and put some shade right down this one. And now you see how I stopped just before the end. Next one, we're going to go this side. And look at the sides that you're doing this on. Curve it a little. Again on this one, I'm going to do it to the right side. I'm going to Bring this one down a little further. Last one. Again, shading it on the right. This one we did on the left. This one was on the left. This one's on the right. All these three are on the right. And just a little bit. Now in this, we're going to do it really hard. This is the opening. So we want to make sure that it's really dark right up against it. So you can see the contrast and the shades. And then we'll lightly do it. And we'll do it right around here. And it's okay if you get out like this. We have erasers. Alright, and this dip, let's shade that dip. Alright, before we go any further on the shading, we're going to get out our little shading stump here. Going to, again, hold it, drop it, hold it, use your finger to guide it. Don't hold it like you're in school writing a letter or something. We're going to use this side, not the tip. You'll flatten it out right along the edge. And we'll do this. And you'll see how nice and smooth it'll look. And then I do it lightly in between with whatever's left on my pencil. I'm sorry, my shading stump. Now let's do this. Dip. Dip. Go down. And it's just shading it in now. You notice how these, if we go on top of these first, that'll give us that lead we need to transfer. I'm not leaving any like white areas at the moment. Shading it all in. If you need to take some out, use the molding eraser. I'm going to go and do this right along the edge, along the edge, everywhere I've done. Put the lead, that's where I'm going to shade right now. And then I can come in here and fill it in. You can use a larger one of these. If you have arthritis, the larger ones work with the large area. Alright, so now we've got all that shaded in. Alright, to do the top area here, we're going to put a darker shade. I'm going to turn mine over because it's easier to do it this way than to try and force your hand to go a direction it's not used to. So now we're going to go up against this a little bit darker. And here, a little darker, just in these little areas here. Right up against it so it pops out. Then a light area here. I think I'm using the wrong pencil. Grab my H. And we'll do it light. Use our stump. Get in there and get that blended in. You see how if we do those little dark areas first, and it'll come out softer on the top area. All right. Now, this line here, the uneven line we did, we want that pretty dark. So, kind of just use the sides with a nice thick line. Okay, just like that. Then we're going to go in, turn over so I don't lose track of what I'm doing here. I'm going to go inside here, do a dark up to that point in here, and in here, and on the side. All right, back to our stump. Do the smile and just bring it down. And then I'll lightly do the rest of just barely touch. And you'll have those popped out. All right, now each of these, we're just gonna go along some of these edges here. Some of them we can do on top, some of them on bottom. Wherever you think it should, keep the two contrast ones. Don't do a dark line on top of a dark line. You see how I'm just hit and missing some of these. Okay, and we'll have some dark shading areas. And come in here. And let's just do the dark areas that we just did, and it's just a hit and miss. And it'll bring it all together for you. And then lightly do it. And then we can hit the tips with either your regular eraser if you don't have molded eraser. And just kind of pop that color back out a little on the tips so we can get some contrast going in there. In here. Alright, now we have this little piece out here. I'm just using my blending stump right there. Alright, and then take off any unwanted lines or where you got out of lines. And the last thing to do, put your signature on it. That's it, the end. I hope you enjoyed this, guys. I hope you have fun doing it. You'll find that the time will fly by once you get this going, alright? Thank you.